He is National Artist for Film and Broadcast Arts, recognized for his literary work spanning more than 40 years. He has written more than 180 screenplays, received more than 70 trophies, including 3 Life Achievement Awards, and worked with some of the Philippines' distinguished filmmakers. With us now on Thought Leaders, please welcome Ricardo "Ricky" Lee. It's so good to see you, Ricky. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, thank you
At alam
for
kong
having me.
Have been so busy over the
Yes.
past few weeks and months. This 2023 has really been a very productive,
Sobrang hectic
sobrang hectic
and
ano,
toxic.
and toxic for being the creative communications creative consultant of GMA Network.
Yeah.
So how's that coming along? Ano ang maibabalita nyo sa trabaho ngayon?
Okay naman. Nung una nanibago lang ako kasi di ba I was with ABS as a creative manager for almost 30 years.
Paano pagbabago or nanibago?
Siyempre magkaiba yung mindset ng mga tao, iba yung process, and so on. I don't mean it na negative yung isa o positive yung isa. Magkaiba lang na sistema. But I think that made it more exciting. Kasi iba hindi, parang bago sa akin ito to do it this way. So it's very exciting, fulfilling work. I'm a creative consultant for their primetime shows sa gabi lang. So Startup, Maria Clara Tibara, and then meron kaming Widow's War with Bea Alonso and Carla Villana, and then Pulang Araw with Barbie and David Ikaw and Sanya and Alden. So
ano yung naiba dahil you spent 20 years in ABS-CBN as the creative manager for ABS-CBN, and the reason for your leaving is the shutdown following the franchise non-renewal. Ano pong naganap nun at ano yung parang prosesong nagbago or pamamalakad sa creative process ninyo because of what happened?
Well, halimbawa sa ABS, mas nakakonekta ako sa kung tawagin power structure, the people who manage. Dito, I chose na ayoko na, gusto ko consultant lang. I didn't want to get involved sa mga decision making, administrative jobs, management, this and that. So purely consultative. Reading scripts, meeting with them, with the writers and the other consultants, and then also workshops, training, not just of the writers, workshops even with people involved sa promotion, sa post-production, other departments in the network. Inevitably naman magkakaiba yung network ng atake, even sa mga shows nila. From the content to the process. So yun, may pagkakaiba doon.
Yun sa proseso kung we discuss about freedom of expression, may nabago ba? Because the franchise non-renewal represented a lot about the media freedoms that was once had. Sa inyo po, bilang isang...
sa entertainment.
Sa entertainment, the creative process mismo.
I think yung usual pa rin mga bawal Siyempre may mga hindi ka pwedeng ilabas na hindi aprobahan ng NTRCB. So you cannot glorify drug use or suicide, violence. Basically the same pa rin, denigration ng kapwa, di ba? Whether yung with disabilities or gender, yun bawal na, tama naman. Otherwise, wala namang harsh censorship na you feel na stifled yung freedoms, entertainment.
Well, we were stifled by the pandemic.
Yes,
doon
a lot.
pinanggagalingan ang ating
mas doon.
Experience with how we receive entertainment, nauso ang streaming, nauso ang streaming platforms dahil sinarado natin ang mga cinemas, no?
Yes.
Pero may pagkakataon na tayo ngayon in the coming Manila Film Fest festival. This December 25, magkakaroon ng 10 entries, no?
Yeah.
It's more than the usual kasi it used to be the Magic 8.
Oo.
Pero nagkaroon nga tayo ng mga finished films na isinali, and also the submissions
Oo.
of scripts
Oo.
like Penduko,
Yeah,
for instance.
Firefly,
Correct.
Gumbursa, Malyari, and so on. It seems like a very good list. Itong listahan nga ng mga films, mukha na maganda siya. Mukhang sinala talaga para mapili yung 10. But I think the good thing is, parang slowly, bumabalik na yung mga tao sa sinihan. Hindi lang sa foreign films like Barbie and Oppenheimer and the other non-franchise films.
Napanood niyo ba sa sinehan yung mga films
Barbie,
na yon?
Oppenheimer, and so on.
Yun po ba yung pinakauna yung mga pelikulang napanood after the pandemic?
No, meron kaming sa National Artista Program kasi meron tinatawag na Cine Icons where they show our films. Kami, nila Marilu, yung mga national artists, inililibot sa iba-ibang lugar. So, the first film I saw on the big screen was Himala when they showed it sa CCP. And nakita ko yung difference na I've been used to watching sa computer ko na medyo malaki rin, but iba yung big screen Kita mo yung galaw ng mata ni Nora, yung konting galaw, konting ang laki ng difference And then, may community with you watching the film You're experiencing the same things, the same emotions with a group of people Unlike sa bahay, mag-isa ka lang or dalawa man kayo, but it's so isolated na watching. Ito hindi you're with people So after that, I started watching sa mga sinihan. And again, even if kuminsan 20-30 lang nung una, iba pa rin yung sabay-sabay kayong dumatawa, sabay-sabay kayong nagre-react And then eventually, dumami na ng dumami. Yung mga nanonood, like we watched, yung assistant ko, we watched Shake, Rattle, and Roll yesterday. So marami na rin ng tao unlike before, immediately after the pandemic. So I think I'm very hopeful na dadami pa yung...
So hindi na kayo nabalik sa streaming? Hindi na kayo
nabalik pa rin.
Okay,
Nabalik pa rin.
meron pa rin. So,
Todo is streaming.
todo streaming pa rin.
Ang laking percentage ng time ko pa rin nasa... In a way, ano ba yun? Nagko-coexist ako with the big screen in my entire life. From the, hindi lang big screen. From the cell phone to the computer screen. Yun, buong buhay ko, every day, ang laking percentage kaharap ng screen na yun. So, streaming pa rin. Hindi mo naman mapapanood sa sinihan karamihan. At saka, maganda yung panonood sa big screen, pero may advantage yung streaming You're in control. You can edit whatever you're watching because you can pause. Or you can do research in the middle of the film. You can, sino na nga ba to si Oppenheimer? Ano na nga bang ginawa niya? Sino ba si ganito? Sino? You can start doing research and then come back to the film. So, in a way, you're remaking the film. So, ibang klaseng empowerment din yung nararamdaman mo dun So, masarap din yung ganung feeling I can do research on this actor or this director. Or I can watch a documentary muna on Oppenheimer before continuing the film. And then I can compare. So, it becomes my film. So, may control ako. Pero sa big screen naman, another good thing naman is the complete opposite, which is watching that big screen, then you just let go, complete surrender. Bahala ka sa buhay ko, papanoorin lang kita. Wala akong control. Masarap din yung ganung letting go na feeling. So, yeah, I shuffle.
Sabi nga niyo parang sinala. Ito sinala talaga, no? For the MMFF.
I suspect.
So
looking at the...
what kind of a feeling will the audiences get when they go to the cinema on December 25th?
I think, in a way, they will still get most of what they used to get, which is iba-ibang genres, iba-ibang emotional experiences. May horror pa rin, may drama, may rom-com, may historical, may action, may comedy. I think nandun pa rin lahat yun Pero nung tinignan ko ibang nasa listahan, parang ibang klase yung Gumbursa, halimbawa. Ibang klase yung Malyari. Ibang klase yung Firefly. So, pero wala akong karapatan magsalita. I haven't seen any of the films. But yeah, it seemed na parang iba ito. Hindi ito yung usual. Parang they're trying to do something different this time.
But you have been a committee member of the EXICOM ng MMFF noong 2017,
Yes.
where you have decided to resign because of certain issues.
That time.
That
Yes,
time.
yes.
I was wondering
think
whether
there-
you've seen any improvements, kumbaga, no, from your point of view, because you were hoping to see more experimental, hindi po ako nagkakamali, versus commercial
Yeah.
viability of films. So medyo parang may balancing act, no?
Yeah.
Na gusto nating ma-achieve reforms from previous years.
And
na-
parang nakikita ko
niyo
naman.
ba yung,
Yeah. Oo.
yung progression na yun?
Yeah. Oo. And naging juror ako a couple of years ago. That was the year when pinalabas yung Big Night and Maupay. So nakikita ko naman yung pagbabago sa mga pelikula pa lang na napapanood So I think that's a big improvement already.
Is there a specific ratio you're looking for na for every 10 films, kailangan dapat merong experimental versus doon sa commercially viable film?
Well, unang-una, I still hope that all films, lalo na yung magaganda, would also be commercial, would also be popular. Because I think in the end, gusto naman nating panoorin ng tao yung pelikula. And hindi ako naniniwala na may pelikula na ang bigat-bigat na hindi na papanoorin ng tao. I think we should find time to watch both the films that are supposedly easy and difficult. Kasi pareho silang may binibigay sa atin. Kuminsan nga, the difficult films, the ones that are difficult to watch, are the ones that turn out to be more fulfilling in the end. Like Oppenheimer is, in a way, in a sense, difficult to watch, although may pagka-suspense siya. Pero ang haba, at saka yung material, yung content, kuminsan di ko alam ano na to, sino tong taong ito, and so on and so forth. But in the end, it turns out to be more fulfilling kasi parang ang yaman-yaman nung nakuha mo sa kanya. On the other hand, there are films naman na rom-com or simpleng family drama and easy to watch, but you go through a certain experience wherein that's also fulfilling. I think we should have room for both.
May middle
types of
ground
films.
ba tayong pwedeng ma-explore na parang it's both artistic and commercially viable?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
how can we develop that in a platform where it's already multi-platform, ano? Hindi lang
Yes,
cinema,
yeah.
pero napakarami ng mga venues
Oo.
to screen these.
Yeah, oo. Ay napaka-complex. But I think that's what most of us have been trying to achieve. I remember si Lino Broca years ago was saying, sana Ricky makagawa tayo ng pelikula na nandun yung gusto nating laman, pero commercial pa rin. So, ano yun? Gusto namin lahat gawin yun. Ayaw naman namin gumawa ng pelikula na pupurihin namin ng ganda-ganda, pero ayaw naman panoorin ng tao. Hindi naman nila maintindihan. On the other hand, ayaw naman namin ng pelikula na ang daming manunood, but you're dumbing down the audience. You're making it too simple to the point na naging caricature na o hindi na totoo. Then I think mali rin yun. So, looking for that marriage, mahirap. But doon kami papunta.
Have you studied far enough into the Korean content, into Korean entertainment? Because talagang they have traveled well locally in their
Yes.
own market as well as globally. Talagang nagkaroon ng K-wave na gustong sundan
Yes.
ng lahat ng
Yeah.
entertainment industries in
Yeah.
various countries. How far are we from actually achieving that kind of a stature? Because meron na tayong mga award-winning talent, meron
Yeah.
na rin tayong mga award-winning films,
Mhm.
pero gaano pa kalayo yung gap sa opinion ninyo?
Yung K-drama kasi, it comes as part of a wave, a Korean wave, from food to fashion to K-pop to K-drama. So, lahat sila. So, hindi nag-iisa yung K-movies or K-drama sa TV. Para siyang isang alon, pero maraming alon na kasama. So, ang lakas ng puwersa. At tulong-tulong lahat yun. At fully supported by the government. So, talagang nakasuporta yun dun sa alon na yun. Kaya, ang bilis nilang nakapag-globalize. So, that's one. Which meron tayong government support, pero hindi pa ganun ka-adequate, ganun ka-enough. Pero ang dami ng mga measures na ginagawa, NDCP and so on, pero hindi ganun kalakas na pwersa. And then second, dahil doon, aligned lahat sila, ang lakas ng kanilang sense of Korean pride. They're proud of the Korean fried chicken, they're proud of Korean fashion, Korean etc. etc. And pag pinanood mo yung mga K-drama nila, hindi nila dinedeny yung Koreanness nila. Hindi nila gusto, maski na anong attempt nila na yung katawan nila maging sobrang payat, etc. etc. In the end, they're very Korean. And I think that's a very strong factor also na they're very Korean. Which means, I think, talagang papanoorin tayo if we will be really, really Pinoy in our content. So, yun, malaki siyang pwersa. Kailangan natin ng government help, ng malaking government help para ma-achieve yung ganong wave. And at the same time, I think lahat ng sectors ng society, education, teachers should help papunta dun sa wave na yun. Even businessmen, lahat, media, lahat papunta dun sa wave para it becomes one strong force. Hindi pa natin na-achieve yun.
Pero meron ng government measures, as you mentioned, ano? Ano pa yung dapat gawin para siguro masimulan tong wave?
Well, may mga ilang hakbang silang ginagawa sa Senado at sa na may mapapa-approve na mga bills. So, hopefully makakatulong yung malaki. At the same time, there are certain government measures like maybe mas mababang tax. Kasi ang heavy ng tax. Maybe mas marami pang grants ang ibigay sa filmmakers. Maybe mas maraming concessions. Like maybe may certain areas where libre kang mag-shoot dito, gamitin mong location, tutulungan ka namin. Ang dami-daming pwedeng maisip where ang laki na may tutulong ng gobyerno maybe babaan nila yung ticket prices and para hindi malugi yung mga sinihan, then the government should shoulder. Or maybe kung estudyante ka, pwedeng 100 pesos lang yung ticket, then may encourage yung mga teachers na i-assign yung pelikula at mga estudyante din manonood. Dahil pag binabaan naman yung presyo ng ticket, even if may kalabang streaming, pumupunta sa sinihan ng mga tao Kasi iba pa rin yung experience ng going out there to watch a film. So, kung bababaan. Pero ngayon, magkano ang ticket? 370, 400, 500. And then, kakain ka, magbabiyahe ka. So, ang laking gastos.
So, compared to other countries, medyo malayo pa sa tingin?
Yeah, yung sa pagtulong.
Sa pagtulong.
Yes.
Pero yung Filipino-ness, sa tingin nyo ba, hindi pa natin ine-embrace ang ating pagka-Pinoy?
Malaki pa rin ang pagka-colonial ng pag-iisip natin.
In what way? How do you see that in your many years, 40 years of having written so many scripts?
Personal na karanasan ko na lang. Nagsusulat ako in Filipino, fiction and non-fiction, pero walang Filipino magazine na in Filipino. Lahat ng mga magazines in English. So, saan ako magsusulat? If you go to the library sa UP man o Lasal, one section lang yung Filipiniana. Siguro that's what, 10-20% lang. 80-90% puro English, American. So, bookstores din, ganun din. Nung nag-bestseller yung nobela kong Para Kay B, nag-number 1 siya, ganito lang yung promo nung bookstore. Pero pag foreign authors, andun lahat, nasa window, and so on and so forth. So, maski yung suporta na lang sa local artists, sa writer na lang, in Filipino, hirap na agad In my 40 years, when I was writing for a magazine before, yung pinakamababang sweldo ng English writer sa staff was, I think, 400 pesos that time. Yung pinakamataas namin na Filipino writers in the magazine, I think was 300 pesos. So yung pinakamababa nila, mas mataas pa sa pinakamataas namin. And yet, we were doing the same reportage. Go there, interview, write, and so on. Noon yun. And then, up to now, I think, mas ano pa Di ba? Mas naging, may apo ako, naka-expose sa kanya, YouTube, ang mga myths niya, ang mga legends
niya. Si Aika.
And si Ace. Hindi Pinoy, di ba? Mga mga Megatron and so on. And Toy Story.
Pero may online space tayo na posibleng maging venue para doon sa mga in-Filipino na
Yes,
inilatalang Filipino.
And pwede namang pilitin ng mga magulang na puntahan yun. Pero hindi napaka-available ng resources doon eh. Itong available na bola, nakakalat sa'yo at nakapalibot and all the hype. Pag pumunta sila ng mga malls, hindi naman sa kanila bubulaga yung images ng mga Filipino leaders or mythical heroes. Bubulaga sa kanila mga foreign. So
saan tayo magsisimula to change?
Aligned lahat.
Oo.
I think aligned
you
lahat.
mentioned education. I mean,
Yes,
would that
education
be
I think is a big
the first parang phase of that, creating the wave, no?
Yeah, that will be certainly
to
a
have
big...
more avenues for expressing Filipino literature.
Oo. Pero gobyerno rin eh. Like the Department of Education, I suppose at a certain point, kailangan i-impose, i-assign, i-regulate. Maski sa mga sinihan, Metro Festival lang tayo yung puro Filipino film. So I think there should be some regulation to protect Filipino content vis-a-vis foreign content and so on. Mahabang diskusyon kasi lahat connected interconnected I don't think one single agency or factor can solve the entire problem. Magtutulungan sila lahat as one big force, as I said sa Korea, para maging one big force siya. But I'm very optimistic. I think it can be done. I'm very hopeful.
It's good to be hopeful because one of your readers found hope in what you wrote in your commencement speech. And he makes reference to Kulang na Silya.
Yes.
Ito yung essays na sinulat ninyo during the pandemic that kept you sane. Sabi dito, it definitely helped to be told, quoting you na, yung hawak mong diploma, para yan sa iba. Hindi para sa iyo.
Yeah.
Para kanino nung araw na yun? When you were receiving that recognition, ang hinawakan yung diploma. Sino yung nasa isip ninyo?
What came to mind was my son, si Kiko, and then yung mga apo ko. What came to mind na hindi ko nasabi were my parents. They died when I was very young. My mother died when I was 5. My father when I was, I think, maybe 9 years old. So I never saw them. Pero nakikita ko yung mga magulang doon Natuwang-tuwa, umiiyak sila na niyayakap nila yung mga anak nilang graduate. Most of our parents, ang gusto lang nila, makita nilang graduate ang anak nila Mahirap man o mayaman, ano man ang estado sa buhay And so, nag-flash sa mind ko yun na, kung nakita ng parents ko na may diploma na ako, maski na honoris causa lang, hindi talagang graduate ng totoo. Siyempre, they'd be really, really proud. So, naman sa mind ko yun. And naisip ko na, para sa kanila rin pala to. Para sa parents pala natin, partly, kaya tayo gumagraduate. Pero, I think, in the end, yung diploma is hindi lang sa parents, kundi para sa ibang tao. Para sa mga, well, in my case, sa readers ko, sa viewers ng ginagawa ko. In the case of doctors, sa mga ginagamot nila, it should be for other people. Kaya tayo graduate.
It took 70 years, you mentioned 9. The last time you saw your parents, it took 70 years. Pero kinayanan niyo yan. At nakatanggap kayo ng diploma.
Oo, because hindi ako graduate sa UP Hindi ko natapos yung course ko, Navy English. And yeah, so finally, naka-graduate.
But it's ironic, you taught 2 semesters in UP.
Yeah, oo. Well, I used to teach naman. Before I got the doctorate, nagturo naman ako at first sa Ateneo, and then UP, then Sabay. And then nag-university hopping ako that time. I think it's late 80s or 90s. Kasi gusto kong makita yung iba-ibang klaseng estudyante sa ibang eskwelahan. So I was able to teach in LaSalle for 1 sem, New Era, UP Padre Paura, UE, saan pa ba? Well, anyway, naglibot ako.
Sa University Belt.
Yeah, university hopping. Yeah.
Doon din sa commencement speech, hinimok niyo yung mga kabataang mag-iwan ng marka.
Yeah.
And this is something that you said, magkaroon ka ng boses, ng opinyon, mundo mo ito. But how? In the age of social media, when you have generative artificial intelligence, kung pupuntahan natin doon, at hindi pa tayo nasa disinformation, misinformation era.
May AI na.
Ayun nga. How can we harness that freedom of telling the truth when the lines are blurred now between fact and fiction?
Yes, oo. Actually, dati nang mahirap sabihin yung truth eh. Kasi nung social media pa lang eh, you hardly know yourself na nga eh, with all the noise ng social media eh. Simulang cellphone, hanggang iPad, hanggang YouTube, hanggang all the streamings and all this, and so on and so forth. And then all the fake news. So, mahirap ma-discern yung truth sa labas, pero mas mahirap makita yung totoong ikaw. Kasi social media, that screen na parang tawag nila assisted living. So, yung buhay ko ngayon, assisted, lagi by that big screen. It gets to a point where yung big screen ang nagsasabi kung sino ako. Ay, may 1,000 likes ako. Ay, may 2,000 views. And eventually, mas iniiwasan ko yung ganun, tinitingnan ko na rin, pag may pinopromote kaming libro o video o trailer, nakailang views na tayo, nakailang likes na, nakaganito. And it gets to a point where yung self-worth mo, na ma-measure mo na in terms of how people react sa'yo sa social media, hindi nga sa personal interaction anymore because you hardly have time. And besides, ang dami-dami itong reaction na to sa social media. So, kulang yung oras, so napupuno noon yung oras mo. So, it becomes so noisy na hindi mo na nakikilala yung sarili mo. At kung hindi mo kilala ang sarili mo, when you write, fiction man or non-fiction or sa news, ang lalabas na boses mo, hindi na rin totoong boses mo kasi hindi mo kilala ikaw eh. Dapat yung boses mo galing sa kung sino ikaw eh. So, yung voice mo ngayon na ginagamit to tell stories, hindi na rin tayo sure kung authentic na boses mo yun. And then ngayon dumating itong deepfakes and etc. and all this tampering and then AI. So I think lalo pang gugulo ang situation, lalo pang lalabo kung ano na nga ba ang hindi lang truth, kundi pati reality. Ano ang reality at ano ang truth. Mahirapan na rin tayo mag-discern. But I think we should be able to discern.
How? Paano po?
I think ang unang-una mong titingnan muna is kung ano yung pagkatao mo. I think it will all start with who and what you are. I think you should hold on to that regardless of all the noise na hindi mo na marinig ang sarili mo, regardless of all these temptations and stimuli telling you this and that, you're this, you're that, you're not qualified, you're not worthy, etc., etc. I think keep holding on to sino ka ba, ano ka ba. Mahirap na proseso, but I think it's the best thing that you can do. So kung ako ito, ano man ang nangyayari sa palibot ko, haharapin ko yan bilang ako. Kung minsan nahihila ako pa kaliwa, pa kanan, but I'll go back to whoever I am sa tingin ko. I think yun yung first step, yung pagkatao ko, yung consciousness ko. So kung may mga blinders that tell me na hindi magandang ganyan or mali yan, etc., etc., I'll have to be observant, analyze, pag-isipan ko, put this and this together, etc. Totoo ba yan based sa kung ano ako, and then make a decision. You have to be very active. You cannot be very passive. Otherwise, hihigupin ka. So may konting vigilance lang that's needed to keep to whoever and whatever you are. It is very difficult, but I don't think you have any choice. And in the end, pagdating ng AI, hindi naman maiwasan. I think malaking tulong naman ng AI kung assistant siya. I mean, it can really assist me in so many ways. Eh.
Pero have you tried?
Yeah, I've tried it a number of times. Like, may pinag-isipan akong script dati. So sabi ko, ano yung magandang iba-ibang paraan ng paghiganti? So, trinay ko siya. Sinermonan ako niya.
Nung AI?
Yeah. Una muna, dapat daanin sa maayos na pag-uusap. Ikalawa, pumunta sa batas. I mean, ang AI kasi is very correct, very templated. It's all words. So, kung ano yung tama sa mga nangyari na sa palibot na nagawa niya ng algorithm, yun ang sasabihin niya. Pero ang beautiful works, I think, are not templated. It's the liko, it's the in between the words, in between the lines, it's the hindi inaasahan, it's the hidden this and that makes a story or a novel or a film really, really beautiful. Hindi siya yung correct na templated. Hindi yun magagawa ng AI kasi ang AI walang pagkatao. Wala siyang past wounds and bubog and all this that comprise our pagkatao. all the wounds that I went through in life, some of them nagsara, some of them hindi nag-heal, all the fears and joys and triumphs and rejections and etc. and so on and so forth, and all the dark thoughts, that's all inside me. And that's me. Hindi yun makukuha ng AI kasi wala siyang pagkatao na gaya noon. So, but he can be a very valuable assistant. May mga questions akong tinatanong, nasasagot niya agad. May mga pinare-research ako, ang bilis niya nare-research na ibabalik. Pero I'm in control. I correct even yung nire-research niyang binabalik, kino-correct ko. And that's what I need, or I don't think so, and so on. So, assistant siya. I don't know in the future kung ano maging relationship namin. I think, so long as assistant siya, and I know kung saan siya gagamitin, I'm okay.
I'm okay, ganun lang. Ano? That same vigilance you shown our writers when you won the National Artist Award, and I have to quote this, back in June 2022, nagbigay kayong pagpupugay sa ating mga manunulat. At ang sabi ninyo, writers who never get credit for their work, this is for you, who found other jobs because they could not survive in writing, pawned laptops, sold their souls to get the proverbial break. And sa mga patuloy na nagkukwento ng mga kwento na katotohanan, maski sinisensor, sinusupil at pilit na binubura.
That's all so true.
Pero paano maging matapang at buo?
Well,
kung tayo'y sinisensor.
Well, una-una, hindi mo dapat i-deny na matatakot ka. I mean, normal human reaction yun. And I think it's good na we feel all these negative emotions. Fear, frustration, doubts, and so on. That's part of what makes us who we are. Baka nga walang ganun ng AI kaya wala siyang pagkatao Sure na siya lahat Kung ano mo kanyang template, yun kasi all words lang siya So I think it's important to feel fear because it will tell you exactly what to do or how to do it. But in the end, I think you should write about what you perceive as the truth. Kasi kung hindi mo sasabihin yung totoo, then binabiolate mo yung pagkatao mo. Kung yung nakikita mong totoo And the moment that you start violating yourself, paulit-ulit, then you're lost. Then you're no longer really writing. So I think it's important to write about what you feel is the truth. I think that's what happened to Elsa in Himala. Kaya siya binaril ng kung sino man bumaril because she was speaking the truth that she realized, that she discovered in the end. But hindi matanggap ng mga tao yung truth, kaya siya pinatay.
Sa inyo po, what is the greatest fear na nasa loob nyo pa rin po? Na nagda-drive sa inyo sa panunulat at sa creative process?
Namawalan ako ng silbi. I've been working since bata pa ako and non-stop. I've never stopped working up to now. I'm still working full-time. And ang busy-busy ko. Ang dami-dami kong ginagawa. I've not stopped. But to feel na wala akong silbi o wala na akong magagawa, yun yung greatest fear ko nawawalan ng silbi, walang magawa. In my case, na hindi makapagsulat. But even beyond that, makatulong siguro sa ibang tao. But then, the best way na nakakatulong ako, I feel, is through writing. So, kung hindi na ako makapagsulat, yun, nakakatakot.
Kaya rin, babalikan niyo yung mga workshops, At yung tinatawag yung mga nag-a-apply ay workshoppers.
Yes, oo.
Kailan kayo ulit magsisimula at bakit importante to para sa inyo?
Well, I think two ways yun I think the more na natututo ka through practice of writing, halimbawa in my case, dahil sulat ng sulat, then natututo ako, nag-grow ako. I hope, I keep improving. I keep becoming a better and better and better writer. Walang katapusan I think it should not stop there. Otherwise, you're not really going to grow. I think kailangan mong ilabas. Kasi pag napuno yan, mabubulok lang yan sa loob mo Or magde-deteriorate ka, or magiging too mayabang ka in thinking na, okay na, narating ko na, ang husay ko na So, kailangan siyang lumabas And ang parang ng paglabas, ito share it with others. To let others go through the process ng learning mo, na matuto naman sila. And pag ipinasok mo sa kanila yun sa learning, na nakikita mong natututo sila, and you're going through the same things with them, pero sila mga in their 20s and their 30s. Ako, I'm 76 years old now. So, natututo ako sa 20-year-old, as a 30-year-old, as a 35 years old, etc., etc. Ang dami kong levels ng pagkakatuto na nakukuha sa kanila. So, umiikot pabalik sa akin. So, it's a very beautiful cycle of learning and sharing and practicing na ang hirap i-duplicate.
What was the biggest thing that you've learned from your students in their 20s and 30s na you wouldn't have known if you did not do these workshops and would not have improved you as a writer?
That's interesting. Ngayon ko lang iniisip. Kasi from the very start, nung 80s pa man, lagi ko nang sinasabi sa kanila na ang mahalaga yung boses mo eh. Palayaan mo yung boses mo eh. Nung panahon ni Love Diaz, yun yung naalala rin niyang madalas kong sabihin eh. Palayaan mo yung boses mo. Ayaw kong mag-impose ng template ko. Huwag kang maging Ricky Lee. Be yourself. Be who you are. The boses. The pagkatao mo ulit. So, doon ka magsimula ng pagkakwento eh. So, klaro sa akin yun eh. So, hindi ko yun natutunan through time. Anong natutunan ko through time? Well, hindi naman dahil hindi ko na-realize, kundi natututunan ko na ito yung generation ngayon, ito yung generation ngayon. Like, one thing na nakita ko sa generation ngayon ng workshoppers, mas sanay silang mag-storytell different planes, different levels, past, present, time travel, multiverse, meta, story within a story within a story, multi-characters. They're used to going all over the place. Hindi yung sobrang linear lang na isang lugar. Unlike nung panahon namin in the early years na mas linear, ito they're able to connect 100 things. At mga bata ngayon, pagtingin nila ng machine o laptop, alam nila how to connect eh. Hindi na nila tinitingnan yung manual eh. So, sa storytelling ganun din. Parang they're able to connect all these 20, 30, 40 elements ng mabilis, seamlessly. I think it's a new thing in the sense na meron ng ganyan dati, pero ngayon mas marami ang ganyan eh. And natututo rin ako doon kasi kasabay ko sila eh, trying to connect this and connect that and so on and so forth. So, it's very exhilarating.
Naisip ko tuloy si Nakiko, si Aika at si Ace dahil that is 2 generations, yung
yes. And
pagkatatay ninyo at pagka-grandpa. Sino si Ricky Lee bilang tatay at lolo?
Okay. Well, tatay ako ni Kiko. Spoiled na spoiled siya before.
siya lang yung only child.
Noon. Pero with the 2 kids now, mas controlled na yung pag-spoil. Baliktad nga eh. Sabi nila pag lolo mas nang-spoil eh. Ito mas baliktad, mas in control. Parang nirespeto ko yung parents kung paano nila gustong erase yung mga bata. Sumisingit lang ako na spoil here and there and then bahala na kayo. Kinokontrol nila yung pag-spoil. But I see spoiling as not really spoiling. I think sa akin ang policy ko sa mga bata, whether anak or apo, whether 5 years old, 3 years old, or 9 years old, may karapatan sila eh. May personalidad sila eh. Kaya nilang magdesisyon maski 5 years old yan eh. Iga-guide mo lang eh. So I respect. I trust na alam niya what he wants. Pag hindi niya alam yung gusto niya, nakita niyang ganito lang pala, ganito, natutunan niya yan, then the next time matutunan na siya. I just have to guide. I don't have to impose. Ayun yung siya natutunan ko. I have to listen to them, respect their thoughts, their wishes, their ideas, up to a certain point. Siyempre may mga hindi. But I have to respect kung ano. And then, trust them. Trust na if they're doing well, then they can do better. Because nagawa nila yung well, hindi ko harangin na siguraduhin dito pupunta. Nagawa nila yung first steps. Then I have to trust them. So, I've learned to listen.
So, you listen more than you talk sa inyong grandchildren.
Yeah.
You would say, rather than telling stories, I would have assumed that as a writer, prolific one at that, ang dami niyong kwento.
Yes, but
and they'd love to hear it from Lolo.
Yes, pero mas I ask them eh. So what do you think? Or ba't may dito? O look at this snail na inaalagaan niya. O do you think kailangan niya ng ganito? And so on and so forth. We tend to underestimate children eh. We tend to think of them as bata yan eh. bata pa yan eh. Hindi pa niya kaya eh. Hindi pa eh. Certain levels, may kayang ganito, may kayang ganun, may kayang ganun. Pero kung minsan ina-underestimate natin yung kakayanan nila eh. Eh actually, ang mga bata, ang sharp at ang tatalino kasi wala pang mga cobwebs in their heads. Wala pang mga don't do this, don't do that, don't be like this is wrong. Wala pa all the fake news and all the untruths. Wala pa eh. It's all pure na pagkatao eh. So there's so much we can learn from them.
Did you learn enough to be able to probably write about it?
Well, I have
the experience.
A collection of 4 stories, short stories called Kung Alam Nyo Lang. It's mga kwentong pangbata para sa mga hindi na bata. So it's not really children's stories, pero parang children's stories siya. May talking dog, nang kaaway lagi yung talking cat, hinahanap nila yung God, or may isang nang mapagod si kamatayan, a kid, and his relationship with kamatayan, napagod na ang kasusundo ng mga tao, di naman siya mamatay-matay, etc. Which Star Cinema is going to turn into a film with Daniel Padilla, yung nang mapagod, with Daniel as kamatayan. So, yun, pang-children yun na hindi masyadong pang-children. But when I wrote them, I was trying to approximate the awe and the amazement of a child looking at the world.
Just some quick questions for quick answers
Okay.
as we are wrapping up in about 3
Yes.
minutes. Ano ang madalas ninyong pinakikinggan sa inyong playlist ngayon? Because music drives your creative thinking.
Yes. I'm very eclectic. I listen to everything from rock to rap to OPM to Broadway to jazz to Pinoy to grunge, whatever is good. So yun. Pero I tend to go back to Johnny Mitchell and Springsteen and yung rockers noon, Pink Floyd, and then pupunta ako dito when it's raining in Manila or Taylor Swift. Marami na ako napakinggan at kay Taylor Swift lately. So I'm very open. Eclectic.
Ano ng librong naisulat nyo dahil sa pakikinig kay Taylor Swift?
Wala pa.
Wala pa.
I hope na may masulat ako. Usually, doon ako na-inspire eh. But Coldplay was para kay B. Yun yung associated. That's what I kept playing that time. Viva La Vida. That CD. The Killers, Kings of Leon, Amapola, the other novel. So kung minsan may na-associate akong discs, albums.
Yung Amapola ba, babalikan nyo pa?
The second half.
Yes.
Yeah, it's lying there.
In your cabinet.
Yes, but it needs revision and updating. So I don't know yet. At the moment, I'm trying to write my memoirs, which is a difficult thing because I have a very poor memory. So I have to hire researchers to interview people that have been close to me para maalala ko. So at the moment, I'm writing my memoirs, and then I'm writing Trip to Quiapo 2, and then a novel. 2 novels actually lilipat. Ganun ako, di ba? Yung sabay-sabay. 2 novels. So hopefully, the memoirs comes out first.
How about a book? Are you reading any book currently as you're doing everything all at once?
Sa ngayon, mostly books related to work, which means scriptwriting books. May in-order ako sa Amazon na 3 scriptwriting books. And then dahil I'm doing my memoirs, I read Spare ni Prince Harry. And then I'm trying to find a copy of Barbra Streisand's 900 plus autobiography. Yun, dun muna. Kasi yun yung ginagawa ko eh. Memoirs.
At kung magkaroon kayo ng panahon at gagawa ng panahon para magbakasyon, which 3 destinations would you like to visit if you can in 2024?
New York. Isa sa mga paboritong lugar ko, New York. Since way back hanggang ngayon. The energy and the vibe. New York. Diet, hometown ko. I always go there tuwing piyesta ng June. So, yun pa rin. Comfortable place for me. I feel really at home there sa Diet. Third place, it used to be Hong Kong nung may mga HMV pa and Tower Records and all the DVDs na wala na ngayon. So, maybe I'll look for another Asian country na napapanood ko lagi, whether Thailand or Korea. I've not been to Korea.
Not yet. And all the K movies that you've been watching, that's amazing.
I've not been to Korea. So, it should be interesting for me.
And finally, meron po ba kayong New Year's resolution?
To slow down. People have been telling me from my acupuncturist to my doctors, to my friends, to slow down kasi I tend to be restless. Maski natutulog na ako, naka-earpad ako dati and nag-isip pa rin ako ng mga sinusulat. Pag-gising, nag-isip pa rin. I tend to go too fast. Sabi nila, slow down. So, siguro, slow down a little. But I don't know kung fulfill ko yung New Year's resolution yan.
But you always like to keep busy and that's what makes you happy.
Yeah, ganun ako eh. Yeah. Oh.
Salamat na marami for the sharing, Ricky. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And a very happy New Year to you.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
And catch us again next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Philippine Standard Time on One News. You can also check out the long conversation on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. I'm Kathy Yang, and this is Thought Leaders.